Power rankings presented by Energizer, still going. That long-lasting power of Energizer. Come on, Hanzus.
Put
Get
your
with it, man. You can
glasses
follow
on,
the juice,
sir.
Dan Hanzus, the man who authors our power rankings, of course. Our mathlete, Cynthia Freeland, on my right. I am here to get in the way and pretty much upset everybody, including our producer, Matt Tanton, who's screaming in my ear right now. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. All right, with that, let's get to the top.
Tension is growing between Money Smith and the producer, and I love it.
Chicagoans,
it's
you know.
It's not
Chicago
a voice in my
guy.
head. It's just, I'm with the show. Here we go. Number one, 49ers. They make it to the top as the lone remaining unbeaten team in the NFL. No surprise there. But, Dan, as we look at your 1 through 8, there are two numbers. The iconic number of Walter Payton, perhaps the greatest football player to have ever played the game, 3-4. And the idea of the Patriots and Ravens and how you put them in that order and why.
Well, the Patriots, obviously, they were number one since August in this exercise, and they had to drop. But you know what? I was getting heat that the Ravens should be ahead of the Pats after what happened Sunday night. And that it's a fair criticism, but also here's the difference, and this is why this is ultimately all meaningless. But my logic was that if Baltimore went to Foxborough and won, I think I would have done it. But the fact that they held serve at home, I still think the Pats on a neutral field are probably a little bit better. I think the Ravens got the better of them. I can't wait to see a rematch, which I hope is on the last or second to last Sunday of January. But for now, these teams are very close, as we saw. It's just the Ravens got the better of the Pats in their building.
What about you, Cynthia? Would you put the Ravens ahead of the Pats right now?
I mean, for the snapshot of the week, right, then yes, sure, because they just
going into
actually
week
beat
10,
them,
do you
right?
think they're a better team?
No.
Okay.
But I think, if you're doing just a snapshot for the week, you could say it because they did actually win against
Nothing fluky
each other,
about that game.
No, that's the thing. I think the ultimate conversation is, do you believe Lamar Jackson and this unique offense can continue to dominate? Have they sort of figured things out on defense? I mean, that's what I think people keep forgetting about the Ravens, is that defense has been kind of victimized regularly, through the league. And this was really just a Lamar Jackson game.
I think the exciting thing, and as a sad Jets fan, I'll take my glasses off because this is serious.
Want to see your eyes,
this
the
is
emotion in your
serious.
eyes.
Yeah, as a sad Jets fan, you wait, because the Jets will never do it, but you want someone to rise and finally end the Patriots' reign. And the Steelers are supposed to do it. They never could. The Chiefs couldn't do it last year, still may be able to with Patrick Mahomes. Now you have another young king in Lamar Jackson. Bill Belichick, they always hear Chris Collins, you know what Bill Belichick does. He takes away your best player, blah, blah, blah. Well, he couldn't do it on Sunday night because Lamar Jackson presents a unique challenge.
Yeah, I guess you said it earlier. The interesting part will be the rematch. I mean, we saw it. Look, it was a much different point in Lamar Jackson's career when he faced the Chargers, and they ran all over that defense, and then there was a rematch in the playoffs, and they forced 5 fumbles. He was regularly under duress, did not play.
Get serious.
Did not play very well. So that'll be, like you said, especially if that's at Foxborough. If the Pats can maintain home field advantage, you certainly feel like, all right, I can see why they'd be rated as a better team. The Packers, the other interesting note there, because they came out here where we currently sit to Los Angeles and got wrecked. Really, the defense could not slow down the Chargers offense, and the offense couldn't slow down the Chargers defense. Here it is, a tweet for you, Dan Hanzus, twice. They doubled up.
What's the
doubled
point?
up. Not going to lie, as a Packer fan, surprised we're not lower than 5. What do you think, Dan?
I think that was a Sir Mix-a-Lot reference.
It was. And we're going to double up the tweets because here's another one. How the hell did the Vikings drop 5 spots and the Packers, who are completely manhandled, only drop 1?
Super fair. I have an issue right now with the Vikings. They're way on my radar. You go to Kansas City in a high visibility spot. High visibility spots have not been Kirk Cousins' jam in his life, in his football career. And they take the ball with 2:30 to play in a tie game, and they go incomplete pass, -7 on a screen, incomplete pass, shank a punt, give up the game-winning field goal. It was like a put on your big boy pants, Minnesota. If you want to be a top NFL team, if you want to be in the top 5 in the power rankings, and now they will go to Dallas, and I think that will be a fascinating look. As for the Packers,
are they a top 5 team?
I looked at this as a bump in the road, and we'll get to the Chargers a little bit more later, I know. I think that they caught the Chargers at the wrong time, and every team has a bad week, and it was a bad week for Green Bay to me.
I mean, getting that pressure back, I think that both of these 2 games you were talking about, both the Vikings and the Packers, the pressure was huge on both of them. The pressure's in that last drive that you described on Minnesota and Kirk Cousins. That was all pressure. That was all like Tano Passanio and Chris Jones just wreaking havoc. And in that case, with Aaron Rodgers, it was all Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram. I mean, you saw
Yeah,
it
and I
firsthand.
would also point out, Cynthia, you mentioned what they did to the Vikings. Remember, the Chiefs did that to Aaron Rodgers the week prior. I mean, I think, what did they have,
fair.
5, 6 sacks in that game? So I think maybe some questions about Bulaga and Bakhtiari, and kind of, is there something wrong with them? What's happening? Because that's back-to-back games where he was routinely under pressure and dropped regularly.
Good news for both of those teams, though, is the entire NFC North lost.
Right.
So it's not like they didn't lose any pace.
Everyone in the AFC West won, everyone in the NFC North lost. All right, let's get to the NFC East and the Cowboys, who are also in the top 8. Cowboys should not be in the top 10, period. Come at me all you want. Sean, I'm going to guess we're going to take a pass at you.
We kind of did putting him on the screen,
a little bit, but, you know.
Did that just get a Brown safety fired?
Your position on the Cowboys, Dan.
Listen,
It was not an encouraging first half, but an
not at
encouraging
all.
second
I
half.
believe it was a 1-point game early in the fourth quarter before turning into a blowout. But the Cowboys are going to be the team in this power rankings world that I'm going to be on that hill, and I'm going to fight and say, I know you can make a case against Dallas being where they are, 7 on my rankings. You could drop them down to 10, 12. You could be a madman, put them in the teens if you want.
You're a madman.
But yes, this is what I believe, that the Cowboys have been kind of beating themselves in the games they've lost, in the games that they have not played well in, like early on against the Giants. But they had injuries, and once they get this engine revving and they really start to go next level, I think they are a superpower in the NFC.
Superpower.
I do. I believe they have that in them. So putting them at 7 is a show of faith.
In the conversation with the Niners, the Saints, the Cowboys are in that.
He has them ranked above the Chiefs.
Well, let's get Patrick Mahomes back in there. It's a snapshot situation. Yeah. But no, I think the Cowboys are as well-rounded a team on both sides of the ball as anybody.
All right, let's shift from 1 through 8 to 9 through 16 as we get a look at the next quadrant of power rankings. And it starts with the Houston Texans. And then your Vikings, as mentioned.
So you win and you go down.
Sometimes that happens.
Down 5.
It's the teams around you. It's nothing against you.
You don't play, you go up.
So let's focus on the team. So this is kind
of
of
like your attitude, Cynthia.
We're waiting for the jump here. So of all those teams, which do you believe, Cynthia, why don't you start, is the most likely to, let's say, make a jump or has the highest ceiling?
Well, you said that one that went down. The Texans win. They win kind of convincingly. They're missing J.J. Watt. They're missing Bradley Roby. They didn't have Will Fuller. They're missing a ton of pieces. And they kind of made the Jaguars look not Jaguar-like at all, right?
Over there in London.
Over there in London. It was a pretty big win, pretty convincing kind of start to finish. There wasn't any point where you really thought that the Jags were going to win this game once it started. So it's interesting to me.
You see that schedule, right, Cynthia?
I see the
like
schedule.
We're going high ceiling, and they got to go to Baltimore hosting the
but you know what?
Patriots.
It's all about their division, and their entire division is kind of up for grabs. And in this one, Vikings, or not Vikings, Ravens rather, Colts. Like, I get it. That Colts game.
That's a harsh stretch there, eh?
Circle the Colts game. Circle the Colts game.
Right.
That one could
Sweep
probably be through for the division.
I'm since the game came up, money, Cynthia. I just want to let you guys know, I'm huge in London. So
obviously.
Just give us a damn team with the high ceiling.
The Vikings. And how crazy is it? Because I just buried the Vikings. But you know what?
No wonder they love you in London.
I believe them. I believe that they might have it in them to make a run still. Because just like the Cowboys, I think this team is so talented on both sides of the ball.
Now, taking on.
Yeah, the offensive line.
This is not lined up well.
Yes, the offensive line has been a little up and down. But I love their offense. Their defense is great, and they're so great in their building. However, they're going to Dallas. So I do think now, because it does seem like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. I understand that. But the winner of that Dallas Vikings team, one of them will validate me. So I feel like that comes out
more likely.
Well,
this is, I think, ultimately what it's going to come down to, right? Is it going to be the Vikings, or is it going to be two teams from the NFC West? Because they're not. Right. I don't feel like they're better than the Packers, and they're going to win the division. So now you're talking about the Vikings, just to get into the postseason, have to finish with a better record than either the Seahawks, the Niners, or the Rams. And I don't know if I'm ready to go there.
Seahawks on the road in 3 weeks as well. And this is a primetime game against the Cowboys.
Right?
We know Kirk Cousins.
So you love their ceiling, but you also love their floor.
That's why the two of you have the
they're kind of fascinating to me.
You have just the constant contradiction of everything you've said up to this point. My submission is the right submission because when you look at the Buffalo Bills and you see what lies ahead.
He is pandering to Bills Mafia.
I am not pandering. I am
Okay,
simply saying,
okay.
look at this schedule. They get Cleveland, complete disarray. Then they get Pittsburgh, obviously a team that's got a very good defense, but not quite sure about that offense. They just beat the Colts, but of course that was without Jacoby Brissett. Sorry, Brian Hoyer. And then they get Miami. They still get to play the Jets.
Yeah.
Basically, all they have to do is win one. Can they win? Can they not win this game? And they're a 10. And I think 10 gets you in the AFC. So that's why I think, hey, just get them in and see if something happens with Josh Allen running around in that defense.
Bills Mafia should, instead of directing their hate at me, they should direct their hate maybe at the Colts or the Jags, so that only one person from the South makes it, so that they get that wild card spot. Because they're not going to get past New England. So they have to be looking at the wild card. So for me, they direct their anger as opposed to being like, oh, you're into your playoff projections. They stink because you don't have the Bills going to the playoffs necessarily.
I see what you're saying. Negative energy in their direction.
Yes.
In the hope
Get
of
it away
bad
from me.
juju.
Go for
like a chicken
else.
foot. You chicken
Exactly.
foot it and then you put it in a pocket.
Get away
That's
from
what you
me.
need.
I
Yes,
feel
there we
comfortable
go.
just leaving the Bills at 13 for the rest of time.
It's a good
I
number.
hate you. All right. We still have the third and fourth
not a bad place to
quadrant.
be.
We got random rankers. We have constructive criticism. And I believe the tease is all charged up. The Bulls coming off that big victory over the Packers.
To go, you could make it a 3-score game. Instead, they want to put this thing away right here. I formation, Rivers under center, Derek Watt, Melvin Gordon, 7 offensive linemen. Rivers on a 4th and goal, hands to Gordon, pushes into the end zone, touchdown, Chargers! Melvin Gordon with his second 1-yard dive of the game.
Chargers have found a running game. Melvin Gordon, short yardage, no problem. Drop your pads and power right through.
Gosh, that's good.
Yes, we're back on Power Rankings. Here we are, third quadrant. Chargers moving up 3 spots.
What
You
a
just
call.
see a
It's really the way you say Chargers.
The timber, the excitement, it's all
like,
passion.
Ugh,
yeah,
Chargers.
little gravel.
Ugh, it's
Little,
perfect. It's just the right
It's
amount.
a gift from God is what he gave you.
yeah. So here we go. Your
Hey,
17 through 24.
You know,
What?
on the subject, we have to mix it up because the Chargers are no longer struggling. The voice of the Chargers talks about what's right with the Chargers and maybe gets a raise
there we
out
go.
of it.
Okay,
So
there we go.
I like
Back-to-back
it's a
weeks.
better scenario here.
Very positive.
The Chargers, of course, have a huge win over the Packers. Stuns everyone, including the 31,000 Packers fans in that building at the Big Dignity.
It only holds 29.
Okay, well, they overstuffed it. Money. what's right with the Chargers right now?
Health. I mean, I think that's really it, right? Melvin Gordon had no offseason, had no training camp, did not look like the back he was last year. And we mentioned it. He had that one run in that game against the Bears, and you're like, you know what? The game wasn't great, but that 19-yard run, he had the burst, he had a hurdle, he had a juke, and then he had power carrying 3 guys into the end zone for 4 yards. And you saw that the whole game. Melvin Gordon's, he's a decisive runner. And I think there was maybe just some second guessing. And this last week we saw get the ball, don't stop your feet from moving and go. That helped balance the offense. That's one thing, too. I think Shane Steichen injected, who took the place of Ken Wisenhunt as their offensive coordinator, injected some life into this offense.
Mostly the run game.
Yeah, and also when he could have tried to just play the clock to keep Aaron Rodgers off the field, he took that deep shot to Mike Williams. He took deep shots to Hunter Henry repeatedly. And then on top of that, when you can do this, there's Melvin Ingram. And you saw it against the Bears, and brilliant play, coordinating by Gus Bradley. Here it is again. He's been standing up Ingram since he came back from injury and moving him.
I like them on the same side.
Up, that's the thing.
I like them on the same side a lot.
And it leads the offensive line, the back who's supposed to chip, the tight end who's supposed to block, guessing. Okay, what gap is Ingram coming through? And then next thing you know, Bosa's got one-on-ones.
They kind of like
it's good luck.
They kind of did like the Jones brother thing from the Packers to the Packers.
Right.
It was like a little poetic.
A little bit.
And
a little bit.
And the Packers, catching a ton of heat on Sunday into Monday for laying an egg. Maybe in 3 or 4 weeks, it's not going to look like such a bad loss because the Chargers have the feel of a team that can go on a run. They went 12-4 last year. This was a real team that ran into injury issues, and now Russell Okung has been a big addition. I mean,
it's Okun's return has been huge. Phillip Rivers has been able to climb a pocket, drive his throws a little bit more. I think a lot of those turnovers were pressure and throwing off his back foot. He's in his 15th season now, I think, is what it is.
I should know this. I thought you were going to say 50s for a second.
So, being able to climb that pocket and drive. And look, it's right here in front of them. They get the Raiders on a short week, and then they get the Chiefs on Monday night in Mexico City. Those are their next two.
This is a great game.
Yes. So
this is a great game.
It is. Both teams coming off big victories. Both feel like they are totally still in the mix for the AFC West, and they'll play one another on Thursday night.
What jerseys are they wearing? Blues or whites?
I think royal blue.
I love the royal blues.
I think it's the best one. Let's get to our power moves presented by Energizer, and we get to the Raiders, the aforementioned Thursday night football game after a big win over the Lions, right in the mix for that AFC West.
And as great as the Chargers looked on Sunday, I like the Raiders on Thursday, and it's for a couple of reasons. One, you got to give it up for Mayock and Gruden, who have
guy right there
have really accelerated this rebuild with some great additions to the roster. Josh Jacobs, chief among them, and I do think that their offense is sustainable. They're a good offense, and they are very hard to beat in that building. And I think we talked about it on this show. I cannot give enough love to Raiders fans who, in the face of losing their team, when other fan bases would desert that building, and it's also the worst stadium in the league.
It is.
They are packing that place and treating it like a celebration, the end of the Raiders in Oakland. On Thursday night, that is going to be a madhouse, and Phillip Rivers is as cool as they come, so he's not going to be spooked by that. But I just think with that home field advantage and how confident the Raiders are playing, especially on offense, they're a tough beat.
I saw a quote that he said that was like his first start was in that building, and it's kind of poetic. I think he's like, 9-3 or something over.
He is 18-8 there.
18-8.
Well, 18-8 overall. Don't know what it would be at the building. You're probably right.
Yeah, so something crazy like that. You know what?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be, the one issue with the Raiders is their defense stinks. They've dealt with some injuries, but I think when you look across the board, they get no pass rush. They can't stop the run. Actually, I think they're doing okay against the run. They really stink against the pass. So.
I think this game is totally going to come down to who's playing for which team, right? Because the Raiders, they're missing. If Trent Brown doesn't play, yeesh, that's scary. Their O-line, they've been banged up, along the O-line.
Rodney Hudson.
Exactly, Rodney. So if they're not, if that O-line isn't there, then I say the Chargers win this one. But if they're more healthy, they did lose Arden Key, so that pass rush is going to be diminished because of that.
More.
I'm just saying, it's all about injuries.
These
about
Thursday
the Chargers.
games, especially in November and into December, they just kill teams because you're so beat up, and then you have to turn around. And the players talk about it all the time. But look at the Raiders and Trent Brown. If they don't have him, it's
And it's funny, the Chargers said the opposite. They're like, we love this, that this is on a Thursday. We finally feel like things are going our way. We've got some momentum. Let's just, and then they talk about, I think it happens too when you're an older team. They say it's like a mini bye.
Yeah.
They're like, you can get that extra weekend, so knock
and
it
then
out.
To Monday, too.
That's what I mean, yeah.
So, Hanses, guess who has the worst Thursday night, like the short week one? The Jets. They get to play the Ravens on a short week. Just saying,
there you go.
it's coming
It's
up.
been a really
coming up.
preview
Something to
there.
look forward to.
Great year.
Let's go.
Wait, I'm going to start crying.
Let's go power moves the other direction, and that would be the Lions. Same game. Lose to the Raiders right there in the thick of it, but falls apart. And, what was so promising, pretty much, what?
They've kicked away too many
Done and
opportunities to be in this race. Yeah. And they've had games that are winnable, and we talk about the Raiders' defense stinks. Well, the Lions' defense is a mess, and that's what's holding them back. Because this offense, it can throw with anybody, and they have the ability to be in shootout games, but you're essentially asking them to win a shootout every week, and that's not how football works. Winning football.
Cynthia?
I mean, yeah, as it turns out, trading away a really good safety, not really good for your defense. Just a note, just a note.
So we will get to Cynthia's power rankings, her Freeland 5, when we return. Remember, that is the big picture.
Who wins the Super Bowl?
Who wins the Super
Power
Bowl?
5.
Wins
Let's
the
brand
Super
it.
Bowl?
Yeah, I like alliteration.
Power.
Freeland's fancy 5. That's next. And back on Power Rankings presented by Energizer, still going. Here is a recap, if you missed it, of Dan Hanzus 1 through 8. The top 8. You see the Ravens behind the Patriots. Behind the Patriots, even though they knocked them off in a head-to-head. Now we get to Freeland's Power 5. These are your top 5 most likely to win the Super Bowl projections.
Super Bowl, not snapshot of Week 10. Super Bowl here. So Patriots, they didn't move. Saints, they didn't move. The Chiefs went up. 49ers, Packers, they kind of reshuffled. These are all the same top 5 as last week. 1 and 2 remain the same, but there's a little shuffling going on in the bottom half.
I think the one thing that jumps out at me is just the lack of the Ravens, who now, and I know the Steelers are still right there in the mix, but I don't think any of us feel like the Steelers are going to win that division. So looks like a team that's going to win its division. I think you feel pretty good about it. Maybe having that bye as opposed to Kansas City with their 4 losses. So
that's exactly what you're looking at there, though. The fact that the Patriots and their remaining schedule is so strong, they've pretty much secured the bye.
Okay.
So now you're looking at one team vying for the second bye, and it's not just the Ravens, right? It's like there's other opportunity, like if the Texans could come up or out of nowhere. So, these other division winners could come in there.
It'll be
The
the Chiefs,
right?
Texans, Colts. I would say whoever wins the AFC West is probably not getting a bye. That would be my guess.
Well, it depends, right? Because they're all kind of, the point is that the AFC, apart from the Patriots, slide them out. To get that bye, which is so crucial to make it to Super Bowl, because you have, only 2 rolls of the dice as opposed to 3 to make it to the Super Bowl, then that's just...
So you think the Packers have a better chance of getting the bye?
The Packers have a better chance of getting the bye because the NFC is a lot tighter of a race.
Concur?
I would never question your machine.
No, thanks.
But the robot never lies. But the Ravens have a very good chance of winning that division. You need to win a division in your formula. They have a win and a tiebreaker over the Patriots for the bye. They can get the number 1 seed. All they have to do is catch them in the standings, and now they're only 1 game behind them. So I just think you add all those things together, and the robot doesn't lie. But I'm just questioning that the robot maybe should have it top 5.
Robot.
Okay.
But here's the difference,
Fangio.
right? Fangio. Vic Fangio. He could beat them, though.
His name should not be mentioned. Actually, you know what? Knocked off the Browns. You can mention Vic Fangio here today.
But ultimately for me, it comes down to remaining schedule a little.
Okay.
Like we've seen Lamar Jackson be inconsistent at times. That was a really well executed game against the Patriots. But then every team has like a letdown game, right? So there's going to be. It's very hard to go 16-0. It's very hard to go 15-1. 14-2.
All right, it's getting a little heated in here.
And that's why I didn't drop the Packers.
It's getting a little heated in here. Let's lighten the mood.
Woo.
A little fair. Let's go a little Kevin Harlan fair to break
the great Harlan.
Yes, exactly.
Policeman, state troopers come on the field, and the cat runs into the end zone. That is a touchdown. And the cat is elusive, kind of like Barkley and Elliott. But he didn't know where to go. Look they're trying to corner him, and they got him in the end zone. There are state troopers all around this cat, which now climbs up into the stands. And the fans are running for their life. Now it goes back on the field again. And it's running in the back of the end zone. And it runs up the tunnel.
Well done, Kevin Harlan.
Can I just say one thing?
Darn play-by-play man around.
And he is, besides you, Monty.
Nice.
But Harlan is so excellent. We're such a huge fan of him on the Around the NFL podcast. And what he did even before that part of the call, when Evan Ingram had an 11-yard catch, he was calling the game action and the cat simultaneously.
Wow.
Without changing pace, taking a breath. It was a flex, as the kids say.
Harlan's the best. So with a cat making an appearance on Monday Night Football, we figured why not do a random ranker of famous cats. I was tasked
your week
with this, and here we go. We'll start number 5 and go back to one of the all-time great cartoons, Ren and Stimpy, with Stimson J. Cat. Yes, believe it or not, Ren, dog. Oh, Ren, Stimpy.
I didn't know that he had that. It took this many days for me to know the full name of
Stimson
Stimpy.
J. Cat, yeah.
It's crazy. His
is.
last name
Never
is
knew.
Cat.
Never
I
knew.
loved Ren and Stimpy. All right, number 4.
Dan
I will
K. Human.
go from Stimson J. Cat to our number 4 cat. It was just a weird idea. I don't know if there was a stray cat on set, but the idea that Ridley Scott decided to have Sigourney Weaver have a pet cat in space that was in hypersleep. Like, the cat's got to go in hypersleep for the 50 days that Sigourney Weaver was in hypersleep for 50 days. And then, of course, the cat becomes a big part of the plot, and the alien's trying to kill the cat, but the cat gets away and ends up surviving. Sorry, spoiler alert. Jonesy from Alien, my number 4 famous cat. Number 3 famous cat. Yes.
Good one.
Scratchy
Scratchy's
from
a good one.
Itchy and Scratchy, as his heart was torn out and put on a shelf. A heck of a parody of another famous cat and mouse show that may make an appearance here in a moment on The Simpsons.
I was going to say that my sons, Jack and Harry, I introduced them to the Simpsons Halloween special, which they're way too young for it.
Yes.
They're 5 and 3, but I couldn't help it because it's
You
one of
wanted
the most
to watch it?
important
Yeah.
programs of my childhood. And yes, they've been saying things they shouldn't be saying the last few
okay.
days,
Eh.
but it's okay.
They'll say them eventually,
It's
right?
okay.
Why not get them started
Yeah.
early? There we go. So Scratchy from Itchy and Scratchy, number 2.
Of course.
Yes. And how about, and this we do know because the story's been told by Francis Ford Coppola. That cat, in fact, was a stray. And it was his idea just to flip it to Brando. And he said Brando just like, the cat was kind of sort of sketchy. And as soon as it got in old Don Corleone's hand, he just mellowed out and was able to just pet him there. Super creepy.
Such is the
Number
power
2,
of
the Godfather cat, and then finally number 1.
I
Of
wonder what
course,
his name is.
Whatever the heck Vito Corleone wants his name to be is what his name is. Number 1, it's
Meatball.
Tom. Come on. And by the way, if you grew up a Jerry fan, shame on you.
There were Jerry fans?
Absolutely.
Really?
Jerry was the cute little mouse, right?
Total
Tom's supposed to be
disgrace.
this evil cat. It's like, hey, Tom's not really doing anything. Tom's just minding his own business, and Jerry will come out
Jerry's
and
vermin.
light his tail on fire, try to poison his food, get him in trouble with Spike the dog, and Tom's just trying to kick it,
Yeah.
And so there we go. Your famous cats. Did I leave any out?
Well, I was gonna say my sons also watched the Garfield Halloween special in the '80s classic. Where's Garfield on this list?
Not a fan.
Garfield's got to be.
You're not
there.
a fan of Garfield?
Not a fan.
That's a bad job.
Not a fan. No, I would disagree. I like Odie. I'm an Odie guy over Garfield any day, all day. I'll take the dog in the strip. So
What about the cat with no hair from Austin Powers, Mr. Bigglesworth?
Nobody likes that. It was scary.
Austin Powers has
Scary
not
one.
aged well. That's my big thing about Austin Powers.
fair.
If you're quoting Austin Powers, we got problems.
It's an issue,
Yes.
especially that movie.
So that's
It's not aged well.
And of course, Bigglesworth was a parody of the James Bond cat. So I guess I would go with the original as opposed.
Most underrated Mike Myers movie. So I Married an Axe Murderer. Yay or nay?
I didn't know any of them were underrated. I thought they were all overrated.
Kid!
All right, that is
know if I've ever
that
seen
is
Like an
our
orange on a toothpick.
Random Ranger. When we return, honest assessments. We're just going to pepper Dan Hanzus with a couple teams, and he's going to give us a quick snapshot of their immediate and foreseeable.
Back to throw Fitzpatrick, looking, flips it back, shoulder, caught, touchdown! It's Devontae Parker, what a catch!
He takes the
back
touch.
shoulder.
He makes the
Beautiful.
tough catches. The easy ones he drops.
Hey, listen, I'll take that one right there, Bob. That's a touchdown.
All right. He caught that ball one-handed.
Yeah, he did, boy. That was nice.
Well, the Dolphins get off the schneid and move up to 29, 3 spots from the cellar, as many suggested they were intentionally tanking, so why get them outside of number 32? I know we shouldn't focus on 25 through 32, but I still am trying to figure out why the Bengals are at 30 at this point.
I feel the same way.
I don't quite. I get that the Jets and the Redskins have looked terrible, but it is interesting that the 0-for team somehow is ahead.
Look at it this way.
Those two.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
We had the Falcons at 28. Well done.
You know what?
Hugo,
I want to say it was intentional.
Recognizing.
Not intentional.
Just say it was.
Just kidding. Nailed it.
Yes. Nailed it. Falcons.
Oh, poor Falcons.
28. Patriots slipped to 3. All right, honest assessments is what we get to. So I'll spit out a team, just a quick kind of thought on where they stand. Seahawks.
Russell Wilson for MVP, and the Tyler Lockett getting Josh Gordon and DK Metcalf being a perfect fit there. That offense with Chris Carson is way better than people thought it was going to be.
Okay. No concern over the Tampa team putting up a big number on them there defensively?
I don't think they're a perfect team. I think they're flawed a little bit, but they are good. I think that's an 11 or 12 win team. See you in January.
All right, the Panthers are already on the screen.
They
Kyle
sure
Allen,
are.
Cam goes to IR. It's the Kyle Allen show the rest of the season.
Yeah, no one thought that Cam was going to put on the Superman cape because he just doesn't look like the same guy right now, or maybe ever. So they're a team that I think is going to be competitive most weeks, hang around in the teens on this power rankings exercise, but I can't really get all invested on them.
No chance to make the wild card?
No, a chance.
I shouldn't say that. They're obviously
a chance,
They're
but
in the mix,
are they a team that could make a deep January run? Or
All right, how about
9-7?
How about the Jaguars expansion along with the Panthers? They came in together. Nick Foles coming back. Where are we at?
Obviously disappointing. Everyone at Wembley Stadium had the 15 jerseys and the mustaches, and Minshew plays so poorly that Doug Marrone feels it's time to go back to Nick Foles. So I think it'll be exciting, though, to see how Foles does in this offense because, and we talked about this on our pod, like one of the best throws of 2019 was the throw Nick Foles made that got his clavicle broken. Right. I want to see how Nick Foles plays for the next 6 weeks, and then the Jaguars have a decision to make.
Which is?
Minshew or Foles in 20.
All right, let's go. This is our favorite one. How about the Jets?
And beyond. Just a total disaster. One of the.
Why are they not 32?
I could put them at 32.
Couldn't bring yourself to do it?
Couldn't do it, but I will say this, because the Redskins haven't scored a touchdown in 3 weeks. I will say this. This has been the worst Jets season of my lifetime. And that's saying something. When you factor in the disappointment with the bleakness of the future and also how they're messing up Darnold and they've disenfranchised Adams, this is as dark as it's ever been.
Big money spent in free agency.
They fancied themselves a playoff contender, and they just might be the worst team in football. That is not how you do it.
Okay, we're going to try to lift Dan's spirits here in just a minute because we're going to present him with some constructive criticism.
Oh,
that's
good.
What always
that
gets
will
him
help
going.
me.
Yeah, that'll be.
That'll help me.
I'm going to therapy.
All right, here we go. Constructive criticism.
Screw you.
Old Gundy. You're going to hang of it there, Hanzus.
That's my burner
dude,
account.
right?
How do we get that on here?
Pretty good, right?
You're getting the hang.
Old Gundy, you're getting the hang of it.
That
It
is
is
a
constructive
backhanded
criticism. Our man Dan
compliment.
Hanzus has to wear it when he comes to power rankings. It is one of the great benefits that comes along with the job of doing the NFL's power rankings. All right, here we go. More constructive criticism. How you going to drop a team that won by 23, says Steven with devil horns. What team would that be?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sure a team won by 23, and not. You should
Yeah,
probably
dropped.
mention the team in your tweet. So
Did the
No, I don't know what he's talking about. But Jags, no. Bears, no. Titans, no.
Texans?
Browns, no.
Tex-
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
Probably
know
the
what's next.
Texans?
What else we
I
got?
don't know.
That
I don't
wasn't that
I'm
imposing.
lost. All right, let's get another one in. Sorry,
Sorry, Dan.
Dan. Stopped reading when I saw Baltimore underneath New England. We addressed that.
So you stopped reading immediately,
Right.
based on one team being 3 and the other 4. I am not impressed. I am not impressed.
All right, last one. Shocking. Dan Hanzus Saints move up a spot on a bye week. You're the opposite. Well, you, sir, are a genius. Wait. You're the opposite of that. All right.
The guy that spells by B-Y-E.
whatever.
B-I.
Hey, whatever, man. We're done. We're.
You know what? And that speaks more to my point.
What?
I have a statement to make, a missive really, from the office of the power rankings.
Where is this?
Can you hit my money? It's
Can you
it's
hit
very
your money?
nice. It's Santa
Can you hit your
Monica.
money?
It has a nice view.
hit your single?
To those of you in my mentions who remain upset on a weekly basis about your team's place in the NFL.com power rankings, understand that I see your logic is becoming strained, your mental gymnastics unbalanced, your rage increasingly impotent. You continue the fight, but your pace has slackened, your punches lack wallop, your jaw increasingly vulnerable. There is no shame in giving up this silence, giving up this battle. Abandon this war of attrition. Surrender to reality. It is time. Your team is merely okay, or at best, pretty good. Thank you for reading, and may God have mercy on your souls. Drink your Ovaltine. This has been a missive from the office of the power rankings.
I would have liked a little more eye contact with the camera. And I would have liked it like a more Shelby Foote style reading, you know, with the music, just like a.
I would have liked Garfield in the top 5.
You know, like
So-
your rage and your fury is nothing but impotent.
Yeah,
like,
we got
you know what I mean?
by
Like
and
you have to.
impotent.
My mistake
Past
was
2
giving. I
weeks,
should have
2
given
wins.
you the
Yeah,
card.
you gotta kind
I should've.
of goose it a little bit there. All
I
right,
got a
we're good.
star.
He'll be
Good
back
enough.
next
Good
week
enough.
with another round of power rankings. And yeah, that was these cards can hurt some folks.
They
Thanks
could.
for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure you at our man. Oh, here we go. Ready? Your jaw is increasingly vulnerable, and there's no shame in giving up this battle. Abandon this war of attrition.
Same
Surrender to reality. It is time.
Same
That-
voice as Captain Andrew Luck.
I had a superstar right next to me, and what do I do?